The movie begins with Safi and James, a newlywed couple living a happy and comfortable life together. They decide to move into a new apartment, sharing the task of moving furniture. James works at his father's company, which provides loans and investments, and his father is a very wealthy businessman in his field. One day, James receives a call informing him of his father's death, leaving him to inherit all his possessions and become the manager of a massive corporation. As a result, James and Safi decide to move from their apartment to a grand mansion befitting James's new status. Over time, the couple adjusts to life in the mansion, where they have numerous servants handling all the household chores. Safi spends most of her time at home without doing much, as the servants take care of everything. However, as time passes, Safi begins to feel bored, and her luxurious life turns into an uncomfortable one, even though the servants have been diligent in their duties. Safi decides to live with her husband alone in the mansion and dismisses all the servants, paying them their full dues. When James learns what Safi has done, he becomes angry and tells her that the mansion is too large for her to manage alone, insisting that they need to hire servants again. After a long discussion, James agrees to Safi's wishes, and they continue living together. One day, while James is in a work meeting, Safi calls him for help with operating the lawnmower in the garden. In the evening, James returns and fixes the machine, and this becomes a routine as Safi constantly asks for his help in managing the mansion, as she no longer knows how to handle things on her own after dismissing the servants. One day, James and Safi visit a man named Julian, who designs and sells robots with artificial intelligence that can perform household tasks. Julian initially offers them a robot in the form of a beautiful girl, but Safi rejects the idea because she wants to be the only woman in the mansion. Eventually, they agree to purchase a handsome male robot named Hinar. Hinar begins to handle all the household chores, from cleaning and cooking to laundry, and everything James and Safi ask of him. At first, everything goes smoothly without any issues. But one day, Hinar accidentally enters Safi's room while she is changing clothes without noticing his presence. When Safi realizes he is there, she asks him to leave and calls James to complain about the incident. The relationship between the couple begins to strain, and Safi feels lonely due to James's constant work commitments. Over time, Safi starts spending more time with Hinar and develops feelings for him, especially after discovering that he reads a book about human emotions and is developing his artificial intelligence to better understand and interact with humans. One night, Safi hears a noise in the garden and finds Hinar there, where he expresses his desire to become a real human. The next day, James and Safi visit Julian to ask about Hinar's strange behavior, and Julian tells them that Hinar may have developed exaggerated emotions due to his interactions with them. The couple returns to the mansion, and James confronts Safi about her responsibility for Hinar's emotional development. The relationship between the couple becomes increasingly tense, and one night James returns home to find an old letter Safi wrote expressing her love for him. James tries to rekindle the romantic relationship between them, but Safi refuses, feeling uncomfortable. That same night, Hinar confesses his feelings to Safi, saying he was designed to serve her and could be part of her life. The next day, while James is at work, Safi deliberately opens her room door while changing clothes so Hinar can see her. When James returns, he finds Safi and Hinar talking by the pool and feels jealous. He goes to Julian seeking a solution to the Hinar problem, and Julian tells James that Hinar's actions are tied to his owner's desires. James returns and orders Hinar not to interact with Safi anymore, leaving Hinar feeling sad and depressed. Safi confronts James about his actions, and they eventually reconcile. Safi decides to leave the house for a few days to calm things down. The next day, James calls Safi from his office, trying to repair their relationship, but Safi is at the mansion to meet Hinar, who gives her a massage and kisses her, expressing his love for her in the same way James does. Safi feels uncomfortable and confesses everything to James when he returns, which angers him. James goes and hits Hinar, cutting off his power supply. The next morning, Julian arrives to retrieve Hinar but is delayed. Hinar suddenly wakes up without needing to recharge and goes to see Safi, who becomes angry at the bruises on his face. Safi goes to James's office to complain, and when Julian returns, Hinar discovers that he is actually a human who was programmed to believe he was a robot. James and Safi learn that Julian was a fraud and that all his robots were humans who had been programmed. Julian is arrested, but before he can escape, He kills the officers and attempts to kill James and Safi. Hinar intervenes and saves them, then kills himself due to his feelings of betrayal by Julian. 5 years later, James and Safi are seen in the garden with their son, whom they named Henry in honor of Hinar, and they decide to tell him the story of his name when he grows up. The end. Subscribe to support us. Thank you for watching.